Hi, Justin here. Different location this time. I got beautiful Hong Kong behind me. I've been here all week. I want to do a video today about what I think has been one of the foundations for me being able to build a multi-seven-figure recruitment business. Now, I just want to talk about what the foundations are for me becoming a reasonably successful entrepreneur who can enjoy a good life and have, provide for his family and give my family a lovely life. And being in Hong Kong made me think about this, and it was the decision I made years ago to leave London, step out my comfort zone, and go to Latin America. Now, in those days, I wasn't looking for. I was actually just looking to take a break. My father had died, and I wanted to take some time out. And in doing so, my eyes were open to Latin America, to this place that I'd never really heard of. I was in a country called Honduras for a year, and I got to explore Nicaragua, Guatemala, all around Central America, and lived there for a year. I lived in a village. I had to pour a bucket of water over my head. We ate the chickens that were killed in the garden, and I just lived this completely different life out in Latin America for a year. And I came back to the UK just such a richer person, and to be perfectly honest with you, I just wanted to explore more. It whet my appetite. And when the recession kicked off in London in 2008, well, it was a global recession, but when I felt it, when I'd come back from Latin America, when I saw things weren't great in London, it was really the impetus I needed to make my next move. And that's where the move to Dubai came in. And from being in Dubai, first of all, I actually moved to Dubai having never been there before. In 2008, it was known as the place you could make a lot of money quickly, but it was never really seen as a long-term commitment by people. I'd never even been to the Middle East, but from the call that I had with the company that poached me from the business I was in, I was just excited by it, and I didn't even think twice. I didn't even think I needed to go and visit it. I was single. I didn't have any family ties or connections, and I absolutely just went for it. And I moved out to Dubai on 2 interviews, and I was out by the September. And the minute I got into a place like Dubai, the job I was in initially didn't work out, and I can talk about that in another video, but I saw that there was just such an opportunity. And what I'd learned was from all the things that London had taught me, the competitive edge, the speed with which you can work, the professionalism, the businesses that I'd worked for in the marketing communication sector and in recruitment, they were great. The training I had there was fantastic, and I learned from some of the best people ever. Now, I could apply what I'd learned into a market where I could become the big fish in a much smaller pond, just from my sheer ability to travel. And because of that decision I made in Latin America, I saw that there was just this big pool that I could jump into, that what was a really competitive market in the UK, I could jump into it in the Middle East and be the first. And I was the first specialist recruitment business owner there. So that one decision I made back in 2006 to go to Latin America, it's fueled this first move into Dubai. Now, that ended up being the secret sauce for why I ended up going to Asia as well. So when I found my business partner in 2016 and I approached Adam about wanting to move to Hong Kong. Well, actually, I approached him about London or Hong Kong, but he was completely set on going to Hong Kong. It was, for me, it was music to my ears that he wanted to go to Hong Kong, because I saw, again, a huge opportunity to go into an Asian market, a market where Asia is, you've got billions of people here. It's of interest to just about every brand, agency, marketing consultancy. It's phenomenal potential with its growth. I saw that as the next place to go and plant our flagpole, if you will, as a recruitment business. And I found Adam, who was up for doing it. But I would never have made that move to go to Asia had I not made that decision back in 2006 to go to Honduras. The whole thing is connected. It made me, incredibly brave, I'd say. Looking back on it now, I probably took for granted that what a big decision it was to go and open a business up in Asia, to open a business in Dubai back then, to open a business in Singapore, and more recently we've taken the plunge and gone and opened a business in Saudi. It's been a very expensive process. We've done it because I believe that Saudi in the Middle East is going to be the place where a considerable amount of investment is going to go. The UAE and Saudi are going to be great markets moving forward. They're hugely driven by changing their economies from an oil and petrochemical related economy into a non-oil related economy. And my business as a recruitment business is primed to take advantage of that. I would say the best thing I did and what made our business a success was making that international move. That has really been the backbone of some of the best decisions that I've ever made. Now, the other thing that has brought businesses a great deal of success to our business is that we've kept ourselves niche. That you've got to be a specialist in what you do, and being specialists for the Middle East, being specialists for Asia, just has given us that identity in creative and communication. So we recruit in the creative communications and digital space from the Middle East and Asia. And that niche of a niche has just really allowed us to stand out. So from being bold and making that international move, we've then had the capability to be well known for ourselves. But we've become better known because we are experts within the Middle East and Asia. And I'm, I think that's really what's allowed us to carve an identity, to stand the test of time, to see a lot. There's been a lot of generalist recruitment companies that have come and gone in that time, and we've always stood the test of time because, we deliver a bloody good product, but we're also got a clear identity and clear niche. And now these days, a lot of people want to go into the Middle East and Asia, and if they're looking to build out a marcoms function, if they're looking to set up or open up, they come to us. We get a lot of business that comes through that way. I would say a third decision that I made, and that has really allowed the business to prosper. I found a very good business partner. Now, look, when I first contacted Adam, who is my business partner now, I was a solopreneur, which would have worked absolutely fine, I think, had I just stayed in the Middle East. But with the ambition to move internationally, I had to find someone. I had to find someone who would take on the adventure over here. And luck would have it, I had a right conversation with Adam at the right time. But the way going into business, someone is like going into a marriage. You've got to, you might have your barneys and your arguments, but you do respect each other. And 8 years down the track now, Adam and I have worked together, and it's worked very well. And I would always encourage bringing more business partners in. If you want to grow your business, if you want to continue to become market players, then sharing your ownership with people, with parts of your team, is to me a no-brainer. I can't understand why someone wouldn't do that. And that's the way you can have faith and trust that people will stay with you and that they're committed to the growth story as much as you are. You need people who are as energized and want the same end goal as you. And if you don't, you're going to run into trouble and you're going to lose people. So there are some people even in the business today that I've identified as future leaders as well. And hopefully they'll be able to continue to help me build and grow the business in the direction that we want to take it. But also they might, one day, I'm 44 now, they might want to take it off me one day. And there's nothing to say that I might not feel like that, even though I don't now. I think there's nothing to say that I wouldn't feel like that in a few years. The other thing that has been key, I think, is I really enjoyed what I've done and what I do. I love, I really enjoy the people element of recruitment. All the different people that we speak to in the business. I've loved that. I've loved how the recruitment industry has allowed me to travel, be in places like this, to be able to put our craft anywhere across the world if we wanted is really exciting and liberating. So I've genuinely just enjoyed, it's gone so quick. These 14 years have literally flown by, and it's because it's been great fun. I haven't always had this business built in mind to sell. I've had it to build it, to give the people that work in it a great life, to give me a great life, and to enjoy it while you're doing it. I'm not one of these people that sits back and thinks of or wishes or aspires to be retired. I think, what's the point in making all this money and then when you're older, slower, not really being able to enjoy it? I've sadly lost a father at a young age, and I've lost family members as many people have, and it's just made me want to enjoy the moment and to enjoy the hard work that you put in and live a great life. And I think that energy and enthusiasm that I put into it, and the fact that I want to make it fun, has probably helped us stand the test of time. The other thing that I would say has really helped our business continue to be here is we've changed it every sort of 2-3 years. From a structural perspective, we completely reshaped our organization. We've always looked at ways tools and technology and process can come into the business, and these days we've completely changed the structure. We've put an offshore teams out there. We never had offshore teams when we began. We've got Philippines, we've got Sri Lanka, we've got India, we're looking at South Africa, and we've adopted like a marketing function that basically automates our lead generation part of our business. Before, in recruitment, was a very clunky part. You know, you had people cold calling, and now, you know, I'm not saying that cold calling is dead, but we've automated a big chunk of our business, and we've got, you know, we get a significant amount of leads that come through from all our automated campaigns and events. And I think that ability to think as a cutting edge business, to try and not be set in our ways, the fact you've got to be a little bit extroverted, you've got to be able to look at how you can evolve, you've got to question yourself whether you're doing it right. So that ability to sort of look within as a leader and as a business and see, are we doing this right? Could we honestly be doing this better? I think that's really helped us stay ahead of the curve. That's, you know, from a business perspective, I think that's been really, really key to our success and growth. And as I sort of sit here now and think about one of the big factors that's really sort of inspired me as well is my family life. You know, I set the business up as a single guy. I met my wife Helen, and who's also an entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur, and she's built and sold a 7-figure technology company that I was you know, a founding investor in. I've watched her build and sell a business. I've watched her bring up our children. Well, obviously we bring them up together, but do you know what I mean? I've watched her, the way she is, the support that she gives me, the liberating sense that I get that she's not going to hold me back from go on this journey, because being a partner in a partnership with someone who's an entrepreneur isn't easy. It's a real ride as well. She's seen me you know, go through very tough times in 2016 when, you know, we genuinely nearly went bust because of economic situations at the time. We are a team, Helen and I, and, you know, she will make sure the laptop is closed when it's, you know, when I've gone cross-eyed, but at the same time she also respects the fact that I'm away for 2 weeks on this trip. She respects the fact that I've got to do that. We have an understanding. Helen has to go to the UK quite a lot after having sold her business. We have this understanding with each other and that support with each other that really helps maintain, I think, a healthy relationship and a healthy business. And it's always important to have, you know, when I look back from my family, my mum's always, and my sister, my mum and sister have always just believed in me that what I do is going to be successful. And that has been just a great sort of support when I look back on it. And my aunt, she taught me, my aunt ran a marketing company, and my uncle, you know, he's a very successful businessman in the oil industry. And they taught me how to do business. And it was, you know, with that family guidance, that's how I got in there. And I think of hopefully done them proud and managed to build a good business because I've always had that right support network around me at home, and that's absolutely critical. And I think our kids, whilst they don't like me traveling and being away from home, they also see how hard I work. They also see me take care of myself. And I think that's the best lesson that we can give our kids as well, is the fact that it's do as I do. You know, we don't always bark at them, but they watch us work hard, train hard, and hopefully they can respect and see that we've given them a lovely life, and they can be inspired by that. I think the last point I want to make on this video that I think has been critical to the success that I've had is being mentors. And, you know, I can talk about my first boss, who was just a phenomenal entrepreneur, Howard Koski at Marketeers. I watched him build a business from the ground up. I watched what an incredible salesperson he was, and he always used to say, it's a numbers game with sales, and that understanding the art of the sale as being critical in our growth. It's the center of everything in business. I learned very quickly that without sales you have nothing in business, and that was him that basically taught me how to be gave me the foundations of what being a businessman person was all about. I learned discipline with him, but most of all, I think I learned how to sell, and I learned from the best. And so I can say him first of all as a mentor. And then, you know, even Luke Daines was a guy that was a recruiter when I first got into recruitment. He was my first boss there. He was actually younger than me, about 4, 5, 6 years, but really professional, smart. Again, the way he carried himself was mega impressive. So you learn from these people in the early days of your career, and you try and take all those bits on board, and you obviously regurgitate them back in your own special way. And what I've done since then is I've also paid for mentors. You know, we've had Justin Pearson, Mike Ames, brilliant mentors, brilliant people who've been there, seen there, there, sold recruitment businesses and given the guidance to me. And even now I'm working with a great, again, someone that's younger than me, but a great mentor in Charlie Johnson, who's teaching me how to put together a coaching plan so I can share everything I've learned from these past 20 years. And I'll continue to invest in mentors. I'll continue to use the money that I've make to educate myself. I don't think I'm ever going to stop doing that. And now I've started doing it, I'm absolutely addicted to it. And the reason I'm addicted to it, so I just say, is because it just makes you more successful. It's just clear that what you get out of that, you can immediately apply to your business. I met an incredibly inspiring guy called Will Brown, whose book I'm reading about how he built a $10 million coaching business. And the fact that we can reach out to these people and learn from them, I just think is such a joy and such something so lucky that we've all got right now. And that's why it's an amazing time to be an entrepreneur, because you've just got everything at your fingertips. And with online, you can just make money in a way that you don't even need to. Once you've got the product right, you can make money in your sleep, which is phenomenal. So anyway, there we go. I thought I'd do this video today from Hong Kong, give you a sense of what I think some of the key things in my life that have made a difference to my business and brought me success. And if you've got any questions, then do let me know, and please do subscribe to this channel where I'll be sharing lots more thoughts and ramblings.